So away we go. So we plant the seed in the springtime, normally about the last of March, depending on the weather, and the first week of April. Flaxseed or linseed is quite correct to call it either. It's all right to call it either. Small seed, so it's sown in early spring in April, and it's after 14 weeks in the ground, it's ready for harvesting.
Oh, 14, okay.
14 or 15 weeks in the ground. Again, it depends on the climate.
Yeah.
And then now it blossoms out into a blue and white blossom, normally about halfway through the stage, about 6 or 7 weeks. It's into a blossom, blue or white. And so it can be last week in June and into the first week of July, it's in full blossom. Then those blossoms are very sensitive to light, and they would last for about 2 to 3 weeks. Flax, anyway, as I was saying, is planted early in the springtime, and we would harvest it then in August. And in the olden days it was pulled by hand, but now of course modern machinery will do all that. And it's after it's pulled, it's set up and dried, taken into the barns, and the seeds taken off it. But in the olden days, because flax, it's a very ancient crop, it was cultivated in Egypt 5000 BC, brought along the shores of the Mediterranean by the Romans into Gaul, which is now France, and over into Britain and spread all over Europe. But we don't know who brought it over to Ireland. We don't know that. We don't know, and we certainly don't know who brought it to Dromore. Well, so, we don't know that. Somebody said McConville's brought it to Dromore. we don't know about that. You see, this was no machinery in those days. We're talking about 5000 BC. This is how they took the seed off it here. That's called simply a rippler.
Yep.
See that there? Yep. Well, then that's starting with this here. You see, you finish with that. Well, then that's the seed, as you can see there, and then the seeds are inside these wee pods here. Well, now, flax, it's a very tough crop, as you can see here. See that there? Now, you couldn't scutch or process that there very well there because of the toughness, because what makes linen is actually on the outside of it. See that there? See that? See, there's it there. See that? That's on the outside. The waste is in the inside.
Yeah.
You see it peeling off? Yeah. That's there. There's a very. There you are. You can see that. That's what makes linen there, coming off the outside. That there. You see that? Mm-hmm. Now the waste is in the inside. Well, now for scutchers, for that to be scutched in the mills such as this one here, and even modern machinery, it has to be steeped in water for 9 to 14 nights. So the next thing you notice is taken out into the field and dried. The first thing you notice is the colour. You see the two different colours. So this, we've got something very different here now. See this here? See the way it's breaking up, see, as opposed to that there, you see? See that? See? That waste of what's called shives. Locally we would call it shives, but shives, S-H-I-V-E-S. See the way that's all breaking up because that was in the water there, you see. Now that over here now we have we're way back in the Egyptian times. So this is just, we're actually a form of crimping it here, do you see this here? No machinery, do you see, in those days. We're way back 7,000 years ago.
You go back to the hand scutching.
Yes, yes.
Out in the field.
Yes.
In the hot sun.
Yeah. So there you are. That's how that was done. Well, then over here they would have scutched it. Then this is how they scutched it. Now there was no machinery. You see.
Yeah.
That's your hand scutching.
That's simply hand scutching. And they just worked at that. You can imagine how slow the process was. Exactly. But then there was no other way to do it. We would think it's slow now, but they didn't think it's slow, you know.
No. Exactly.
See, there was no other way to do it, you see. Oh, there's a flax in our family. Yeah. It runs back on my grandmother's side. It runs back for a while over 200 years. A great parents would have come from Luxembourg. And they had the skills, and they brought the skills over to the whole area. Lisburn, which is a town from 9 miles from here, and Dromore here, which is on the River Lagan.
Yeah.
You see, so it's here a long time, you know.
Definitely.
So this was a mill, and it went a very long time. As you can see, we just have it now as a museum there.
Mm-hmm. Lovely
There's no two of those the same. They're all different ones there. Do you see that all? See that? They're all different. That's what the flax mills there would have. It would have went away from the scutch mills in that form there. Well, then when it went to the big spinning mills, then it went through a hackling process, which is simply combing it and taking out unwanted fibres out of it. So this is what you finished up here, and that's known as a sliver. Well, then that would be divided up again and again and again and again. And then it's spun and made into yarn then, like this here. And then after that, it's woven into linen, and that's unbleached linen there. We produced that. We grew that ourselves from seed. And we got that done in the big spinning mills. Ferguson's and Banbridge there done that there.
Did you ever do any do-redding here?
Not so very much here. Some of it has been done here. It was a reasonable success, but it can be more done over in France, for their climate lends itself better. It's a more milder climate. You see that. So we have done it here, but if we don't get the right weather where you're not sure of the crop, you know. Right, whereas in France, it's too big a risk here. Too big a risk here. Yes. Well, then in here we have an 1875 water wheel here. Now there's a long history. There's a very long history to that water wheel there. It came here. My late father, he acquired it in his young days, and it was in a dismantled state, and so it was all built by hand. There was a number of workers. They all had to be assembled by hand. There was no lifting equipment or no modern way of doing things. You're talking about 10 tons in weight. And they had that all.
Move it into place?
Yes, they had to build it all in sections, all in bits and pieces. All built in sections, yes. Have you heard of Harry Ferguson, the tractor man? You've heard of Ferguson tractors?
Yeah, Ferguson tractors?
Yeah. Yes, the very man that invented the Ferguson tractor, the whole hydraulic 3-point linkage system, he was in here.
This is on the River Lagan.
It is, really?
That starts in the Mourne Mountains and flows till Belfast. Well, I'll start her up.
Okay. So do you hand...
This is the starting handle.
Is that it? Do you hand crank the beginning and then... That's the sluice. You're opening the sluices.
That's the sluice we're left.
Yeah.
This is what you call striking.
You do! Oh my god. Cow. That is so crazy. Look at that.
Now this is scutching.
Yes, this is like, we've only seen this on the videos from Northern Ireland.
That's the only one going.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Wow. So would they just, so all the workers would be standing next to each other and they would just throw the bundles across them? Yeah. So great. It's so great. Oh, and then you can do them all together.
Every stage is getting cleaner.
Look at that. Oh my god, the shine.
The workers here started at 8:30 in the morning to 6. Took their breaks. And each worker made his own money. Flax went out of here after the war. In the late 50s, definitely in the early 60s. There was no flax growing in Ireland at all.
Oh my goodness.
And probably 2003 or 4, they were all gone, dry spinners and all.
Yeah.
So that's near the story of the linen as far as we go.
Yay! That was beautiful.